Hi, it's Dr. Karen Can. Welcome to another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. And this week we are talking about a positive morphic field, which is also a positive blueprint of willingness. You know, that kind of sounds not all that exciting, but willingness is something that is akin to the opposite, maybe, of resistance. And why is that important? Well, when we are attempting to manifest a beautiful future, peaceful, sustainable new reality with everyone else that's fully harmonious, what comes up in everyday life is situations that we don't like, that are not preferred, if you will, that we naturally, as human beings, resist. Just like, if you stub your toe, automatically you resist it. You don't want it to happen. It hurts, right? So I was doing block therapy on Thursday, and this is where you have a wooden block specifically made for releasing fascia. And we were doing leg and calves, and we were doing double blocks. So I had one of the blocks that I was sitting on that was squishing literally my calf muscle, and the other block on my patellar tendon, which we then moved, to the front of the shin anyway, and you're putting your weight on it. So it is intense. Okay, so is it painful? Absolutely. Now, why would we do something that's painful? Well, in terms of fascia, what happens is with life, with gravity, with aging, our fascia tends to spiral down and literally hunker down onto our bone. We actually get shorter, we actually get more compact. Then if it's not fluid and free, what happens is that blood supply doesn't go there. We start to degenerate, different parts of our bodies. And the legs and calves, for example, have a lot of pressure because of gravity there. So it tends to be a focal point where the fascia is just bound down. So as we're doing this block therapy, we are releasing the fascia through the breath, through the diaphragm, and breathing properly and slowly. And as we do it, the pressure or the resistance eases and the fascia starts to unwind itself. Now, it's not overnight, and usually it takes a good 3 minutes per position. So how does this relate to spirituality? Well, when something happens that we don't like, our automatic response is to resist it and then go away from it. Now, that's a little bit different. Now, there's resistance, that's positive and negative. So it's a little bit different than exercise where you're using heavy weight or even the block, where you're purposefully putting your body through a resistance exercise and melting into it. So that's the willingness, the willingness. And what we resist persists. You may have heard of that saying, and it's so true. Why? Because if there's something that happens in our lives we do not like, or something we see on TV or the news or politics or whatever it is, we naturally want to resist it. And you can feel that, what it feels like in your body, right? Just for a moment, entertain something that has been bothering you lately. That could be a family member calling you a conspiracy theorist, or or maybe somebody not liking what you said on Facebook, or it could be somebody not liking your pricing for your whatever entrepreneurial pursuit that you have, whatever it is. You can feel that in the body. And the cool thing is once you notice it, once you acknowledge it and understand it, then you can consciously release it. And willingness is part of that. So in level 2 Topican healing training, where I'm training practitioners, we talk about this protocol called the resistance and willingness protocols. And what we do in those protocols for our clients is we tune in and do divine muscle testing as to how willing they are to experience a particular situation that they're dealing with, or how willing are they to experience anything and everything. And then we can also check, on the other hand, how much they resist something happening, even if it's good for them. For example, we can measure for someone, how willing are they to be permanently happy and healthy. And you would think it'd be 100%, but more often than not, it's much, much less than 100%. Why? Because there's some resistance. And we can actually even measure the resistance. So we can say, well, how much resistance out of 10 is that person in terms of resisting manifesting and staying healthy and happy and joyful and prosperous, for example. And we might get a resistance level of 8 out of 10. But their conscious mind is like, what do you mean I'm resisting? I want this, right? But their subconscious and other parts of them are resisting that. Why? Because they're afraid of something, and it's not something they're aware of. So here's the thing. The positive morphic field of willingness helps us by giving us a blueprint of what it feels like to be fully willing to experience anything. Now, let's picture something that most people would not want, okay? I'm sure there's some weird people, and I don't mean weird in a bad way, but that would be like, ooh, that'd be fun, you know? But let's picture, some people like to do worst case scenarios. If that's a habit of yours, that is perfectly fine. Let's work with that, okay? So say your worst case scenario for a particular issue. Let's say mandatory vaccinations, okay? Because that is something that's come up in the news, and many people are both lauding it as well as resisting it. So say you're one of the people that don't like that or don't want mandatory vaccination because you think that is against the freedom, that you should have the ability to choose what is or is not for your highest and greatest good, that you can stay healthy without a vaccination, and that there could be some major side effects, problems, or even death related to the latest vaccine. So you might be resisting that, okay? So when we take a look at the willingness, we might check in using divine muscle testing and find out, oh, you're about 25% willing to experience mandatory vaccinations in your reality. And we might find your resistance to experiencing that in your reality a 10 out of 10, for example, okay? So what we do in the healing space is we actually remove and release the resistance and the unwillingness. Now you might argue, whoa, wait, Dr. Karen, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to be willing to be in a reality where there is mandatory vaccinations? Like, how good is that? Like, why? I don't want to be willing to do that, right? I get it. Just hear me out. When we resist, which is the opposite of willing, we actually create and reinforce, actually is the better word, reinforce that reality and bring it more to us, what we do not like or do not prefer. However, if you are fully 100% willing to experience it, even if it's not what you prefer, that's like taking sludge away, you know, like the friction away from you manifesting much, much faster, all of us together manifesting much, much faster. So it's a really great idea to check in every time you feel unwilling or that you feel resistance to clear that, even if it's something that you do not want to happen. And like I said before, people can resist what they do want to have, do want to happen as well, including their own healing. So having the positive morphic field of willingness does help with that. It doesn't mean you will always be willing to feel everything, because we're human and we have human reactions to things. However, it may make it a little bit easier for you to let go. And so one of the things we do is we kind of, if we think about our daily life and what's going on in the world, if we can kind of fly up and see the bird's eye view of it, so we're like really, really like far up and see the big picture. I'm a big picture person. Maybe you are too. The big picture would counsel us in saying, well, hey, you know what? This is not your only reality. You are a human in this timeline, in this reality, having a human experience. There is no wrong experience. There's no wrong, right judgment on any experience. It's a human experience. So why not enjoy the ride, even when it's uncomfortable? That means enjoying to some degree, and what that means is being fully willing to be in acceptance and willing to experience, whether that be pain, discomfort, war, chaos, mandatory vaccinations, being, jailed, held at gunpoint. I mean, whatever you are like, oh my God, I don't want that, right? If you are willing to experience it all as just as part of one human journey, then you will have the key to manifesting your future ideal reality much, much faster. But this is not easy. This is definitely not easy. And like I said, it is human to resist. But if you can catch that resistance and make that intention to release it, then your future reality will come and manifest much faster. And then if we're all wanting the same future reality, which would be health, happiness, prosperity, harmony, right, amongst all people. I think most of us want that. Some of us don't, but most of us want that. Then as we co-create together and are in this space where we are fully willing to experience whatever it is as part of our human experience, we will experience grace. So let's download the positive morphic field of willingness. It's already downloaded to all of humanity as a whole, but it's possible that you may or may not be connected to it. So let's go ahead and use Topican Healing to download and activate this positive morphic field for you. So I want you to think first about something that you might be resisting right now, or that you do not like that you see on the internet or on the news, or some sort of interaction. And feel what that resistance feels like in your body. Could be small, could be big, doesn't really matter. Okay, so now I'm going to say the Topican Healing directive for that positive morphic field to be downloaded and activated in you. So you just make an internal, consent, if you will, to say, yes, this is what I want. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say it. And what I want you to do is, as you receive the healing and the download, I want you to feel your body. Remember what it feels like when you're in resistance. And then what is it afterwards? And maybe there's a shift. Here we go. I now command the positive morphic field of willingness be downloaded and activated in you and all versions of you and all timelines where you exist with ease, speed, and grace. Thank you. Okay, so go ahead and feel your body and see if you feel a shift in how your body feels. Go back and look at or think about whatever you were resisting before and see if it makes a difference. Now, what is, if you do have the positive morphic field of willingness, what else can you do to decrease or release your resistance and unwillingness? First of all, you need to have that awareness that it's there, that it's causing some friction, right? And you can feel it in your body. Once you have that awareness, what you can do is go into stillness. How I go into stillness, I teach a technique that's in my book, Sensitivity is Your Superpower. It's called STOEM, Stillness Through Observing Internal Movement. So what you do is you just feel the energy that's traveling in your body. And I'll put a link near this video so you can have a free training on how to do that. So what you do is you go into whatever it is that's bothering you. And then we do STOEM. And as you resonate in that vibratory space of 0 point and stillness, whatever resistance or unwillingness that you had, that you acknowledged and you felt, without judgment, will start to dissipate on its own without you having to correct it, if you will. Now, there are fancier ways of doing it. We can use Topican Healing with all the charts and muscle testing and all that kind of stuff. But I'm giving you the simple method. The simple method which works a lot of the time with most people is go into stillness with whatever problem it is you have or resistance. After you've acknowledged that you feel it in the body, then tune in to that stillness and then see if that makes a shift in your body. And this may be something that you wish to do daily, because daily things happen that might put you in that resistance or that state of unwillingness. At least if you have the willingness positive morphic field, that's a blueprint that you can tune into and tap into, it'll make it easier for you. So I'd love for you to post below this video some comments on how that feels in your body as you download and activate that positive morphic field, or if you're going to stillness first, how that feels in your body. I would love to know. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd love that as well. And I do have a few announcements for you for this week. Number one is that my interview with Tammy Masturberte, that was Thursday, February 25th, is actually going on a weekend replay. So what do we talk about? Well, we talked about connecting to your divine inner wisdom, your intuition, through muscle testing and other methods. So the Intuitive Decision Making Roadmap is now at a special price this month through the Telesummit, that you can get it along with another program called the Holistic Health Transformation Program. So there's 2 programs in one, and you can get that from Tammy's page. I will link that near this video. Please listen to the replay because I think you'll really enjoy it, especially where we walk people through the stillness exercise, and one particular person was able to get her pain immediately from an 8 to a 2. And we didn't even do any healing per se. We just taught how to get into that automatic healing state or auto healing state, which is the basis for the divine intuition connection. So you can listen to that live this weekend for free. And second announcement is that on Monday's Light Warrior Radio Show, we have part 2 of the LifeWave Ask the Doctors show with Dr. Dennis Lobstein. So last month, we talked about the Asian medicine as well as the traditional Western medicine approach to bladder pain symptoms. And this month, we are going to go through the different acupuncture points and patching protocols using LifeWave phototherapy patches that can help to alleviate bladder pain and discomfort, frequent urination, and even prostate problems or prostate-related symptoms. So I will post that link as well near this video, so you can join us Monday at 12 noon Eastern and call in to ask a question live or connect with me in the chat so we can get your questions answered in addition to the protocols we'll be sharing. So these are advanced protocols, not for beginners, but we have a great time every month, Dr. Dennis and I, talking about Asian medicine principles and how to use phototherapy patches creatively and intuitively using this Chinese medicine paradigm. So last thing I want to share with you as far as announcements goes is that, the world is changing quickly. I think that you probably agree with me with that one. And that means sometimes we need to pivot. And sometimes so-called bad things or unfortunate things, or people want to judge it, happen. But the way I handle it is just assuming that it's all for the highest and greatest good, even if it's very inconvenient. So case in point, I had posted, I mentioned in the last Spiritual Medicine Digest, I had posted some things on Facebook. That was a test to see if the Facebook tech giant would censor the post. And they did. And I got censored for 10 days. And when I came back, I realized that they were not allowing me to post into my own groups that I own. Now, these are the groups that I do, free coaching advice on, free support. And between my 2 assistants and myself, we're pretty busy with all these different groups on Facebook when we're giving free support. And there's other people helping out as well. And so it's been 2 weeks almost that I have not been able to post in my own groups. And Facebook frowns on making other alternative, if you will, profiles. And it's very tricky too, because if you make another profile, then you can't tag people because you have no friends. Anyway, it's a long story. So instead of resisting this and getting mad at Facebook and stupid Facebook and all that kind of stuff that we can go into and be like a little child and stamp our hands and feet in resistance, I was like, okay, well, if it's not happening, it's not happening. Like, why resist the reality? But what else can we do? How can we serve our community better? How can we also balance all the time and energy that my staff and I spend on social media to help people? And so I did what I'm telling other people to do, is I go into stillness, and I did do some divine muscle testing to see what different avenues are available. Now, there will be some available in the future that are not currently available. So we can only test what's currently available or will be available in the near future. So the answers that I got was that definitely need to pare down what I do on Facebook. Do I think Facebook or the big tech giants are necessarily ethical, conscious people? No, not at all. I realize that there is a utility to doing what they do, and they do some things very well, like Facebook ads. They don't mind taking my money, and they're very, very good at it. So what that means is that people that are looking for information, in my case, looking for help for being highly sensitive, for having symptoms of autoimmunity, allergies, all those kinds of things that sensitive souls have, can find me, right? And that's wonderful. Like, I really think Facebook's awesome at that. And yes, we pay for that, and they don't, like I said, they don't mind me posting because I'm paying. But as far as my groups, it's different. So that's something that we'll probably continue, just to search for any light warriors and sensitive souls that are on Facebook. But there are a lot of people leaving in droves because, for ethical reasons and other reasons, censorship being one of them. So we're thinking, what else can we do? So right now, what I'm doing is, like I said, paring down the different groups in Facebook. There were some that we're gonna keep going because that's the main support. Some I did put a poll up in one of my groups. These are people that have bought programs from me, so I know they're very committed. And a lot of them said, "Hey, I'll go to your website, and log in." And so that's a possibility. So we're looking into that to creating our own social networking right on the website. But there's another issue. The other issue is 80%, if not more, people are on their smartphones as opposed to a PC or a Mac. So they're not on a desktop computer. They're on mobile. And being able to log in to someone's website on mobile and use the different, apps, it's a little bit tricky. Sometimes technically things don't talk to each other and it's a little bit trickier. So we're looking at other options. One of the other options that I actually bid into and bought is an app, creating an app where we can communicate to our tribe without censorship, without people looking in 10 different places for the information. So they can watch the Spiritual Medicine Digest when it's up. If there's a telesummit, they have another tab for that and they know where to go. And so it's like one place. If there's an article or, an announcement, like they can all go to one place. So we're looking into that. That app that we contributed to does not launch until March, probably April, and it'll start very, very slowly and grow. So sometimes it's an experiment. I'm getting a yes from Source as far as going down that road and creating that. I think there is utility to that because also we found out that our emails aren't being delivered through various different, platforms because of spam and everything else going on in the world. So we're having difficulty communicating, and I think this isn't just me. This is many, many, many entrepreneurs. So we've recreated the Light Warrior Network group, which is the largest group on Facebook, onto MeWe. So it's a platform. Is it perfect? Probably not. Does it censor? Not as much. I heard that it does censor some things about the US elections, but I'm not really focused too much on that. I'm really focused on what I'm good at, and that is, medicine and healing and health. And I have not been censored on MeWe. And so it's nice to have a group there that we can talk to each other and I can post things. I'm not afraid of, can I use that word? Can I use the word vaccine and spell it properly? Because you can't on Facebook, unfortunately. So that's been great. So we're experimenting with Telegram, we're experimenting with MeWe, and of course, I also have iAwesome, which is probably, the most connected that I am with my students and clients because we meet every week for conversation, very casual conversation, 20 minutes about everything that they want to talk about. A lot of that is censored. So it's wonderful to be able to meet people on Zoom and see their faces and video and, because most of the time it's just a picture, that we're talking to on Facebook. And it's so great to do that. So that is a wonderful thing that we will be continuing as well. So yes, there are a lot of changes. Some people find it overwhelming and they just like, I can't handle it. I get it. We talked about the positive morphic fields of adaptability and flexibility a couple of weeks ago. So that is something that is highly needed because energies are running fast. Change is fast these days. So being able to practice the stillness helps you be able to pivot quickly and be flexible. Do I know how to use Telegram? Absolutely not. Did I click the wrong button? Probably. But the cool thing is some people were on Telegram already, and a lot of the tribe is like, hey, I'm on Telegram already. I'll teach you, right? So they're telling me, they're like, hey, I found you, and I'll try this, I try that. Oh, this is how you pin a post. Oh, that's cool, And I have to say, it's fun. It's fun if you think it's going to be fun. So if you perceive, oh my God, I got to learn something new. Oh my God, I can't handle it, right? You're in overwhelm. It's unlikely that you're practicing stillness on a regular basis, at least from my personal experience. But what'll happen is even with the problem, you go into stillness and you try something new. Like in this case, I did divine muscle testing, said, hey, try Telegram, right? I'm like, okay. let's try it. It's going to be fun, right? So it's like, it's going to be fun. It's new. Oh, wow, I can make the background purple. How cool is that? You know what I mean? And it's like, will it be there forever? Will I always be on Telegram? I don't know, not necessarily, right? Things change. But the cool thing is being able to be flexible and adaptable and explore different things and play with it. I just love having conversations with my tribe. And it at the beginning was frustrating to not be able to post into my groups. So I can't answer them. And if I try to answer them, then it blocks me from posting. And then I try a different profile and then Facebook says you can't do that. Right? So there's all these things going on. And like I say, Facebook does certain things very well. And what it does very well is sell. It sells things very, very well. The algorithm is unbelievable, incredible, amazing. I have an Instagram, but I haven't, it's a whole science, how to get a bigger tribe on Instagram. And it's really not my thing. I like photos, but, I do it for fun. And it's great to do live. That's the other great thing about Instagram and Facebook is you can do live videos. So I'll still do live videos onto my Facebook profile. Just know that it may not show up in the group, unfortunately. So I'll have to be careful about what I talk about on there and to make it applicable to the general public, not just light warriors and sensitive souls, etc. So things are in flux, and that's okay. But I just wanted to let you know what it's about. I want to thank also some of my students and clients and light warriors and tribe members who've been very supportive of the changes and the shifts. And I know it's challenging and difficult to have things shifting all the time and changing all the time. But I do want to say thank you for all those that have supported me in the past, present, and let's thank people in the future as well. And I hope to see you next week on the next Spiritual Medicine Digest. And until then, lots of love. Thanks so much.